From there, does changing my personal investments really make a difference? So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's going to make a huge difference to your retirement. That, I look at this from two lenses. There's the ethical argument, and then there's the financial argument. The financial argument that I'm making is that I think that fossil fuels are going away. And we can talk about the timeline there. It's not going to happen overnight. But if I'm looking at this, I'm 38 years old, right? That it's going to be, actually I'm 37 now. Geez, I'm going to be 38 in December. But that, I've got a long-term horizon. And if I'm looking at this over the next 30 years, I really think that fossil fuels are going to turn out to be a pretty darn bad investment. Now, it could be at this moment in time that fossil fuels are at a low, right? So it might go back up from where they are right now. That wouldn't surprise me. But long term, I do think that we are shifting towards a greener economy. So, for me, I looked at the impact from my personal retirement, and I think it's quite huge. Now, in terms of the ethical argument, a lot of different ways to look at this, right? And I totally understand this feeling that when it comes to the secondary market, right, when it comes to the stock market, when I'm selling my shares, someone else is buying them. So it's not like those shares disappear. However, this really speaks to this idea of Adam Smith's The Invisible Hand. So this is a very, very famous economic theory. And it's very similar to the analogy, if you've ever heard of, the story of someone walking down the beach, and there are all these starfish on the beach, and someone's like picking up a starfish and throw it in the ocean, right? And the little kid's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter to all these different starfish. And the person picks it up and is like, well, it matters to this one. The idea is that as a collective, if everybody takes a small move, that's how we get systems-wide change. And this is the idea when it comes to supply and demand with the market mechanism, that what we're doing is by divesting from fossil fuels, we are reducing the demand for oil stocks. What that's doing is putting downward pressure, because no one's buying them, puts downward pressure on the price. That impacts the company's cost of capital. We're seeing this play out right now, where a lot of these oil companies are in trouble, and they're having a really, really hard time raising money in the market right now. In large part due to divestment movement and what I would call a negative preference for oil, that people don't want to buy oil stocks right now. So, there is talk of like a bailout of the oil sector in Canada, which would make me so angry and so upset, but that could happen, right? And one of the reasons that could happen is because the private market is no longer stepping in. Private investors are no longer stepping in. So my response to this is, does it make a difference? Yes. Now, does my personal little TFSA make a difference? Maybe not. Maybe not. But the more people do this, the more of an impact that's going to have. And certainly by telling other people that you've done it and that, hey, maybe this has been a good financial decision for you because you missed out on the oil crash, that hopefully more people will do it. And do we need to join divestment movements for real change? Like, hell yeah. Like, I'm a big believer in diversity of tactics, that we need as many tactics as we can possibly have. Divestment is one of them, but we need other movements as well. We need to get the big investors like the pensions and foundations and endowments, we need them to divest. We also need climate action from governments and from all levels of government, federal, provincial, municipal, right? We need corporations on board with this. So when companies are like going greener and investing in renewable energies, fantastic. We need to approach this from all different angles. And that I will give a quick little shout out to shiftaction.ca. Oops. I believe that's the URL. So this is a shift action for pension wealth and planet health. And this is an advocacy organization that is trying to get pension funds to manage their carbon risk, which to me, this is awesome. So this is, certainly I think you should, do it with your own money and be part of that solution. In addition, you can take action now to be able to understand how Canada's pension funds are dealing with this, and ideally advocate for them to, number one, lower their fossil fuel exposure, And in a perfect world, to number two, they would actually divest and then reinvest in some of the greener solutions. So this is a really cool way to go kind of above and beyond. We do need systemic risk as well as individual action. Perfect scene here. Everyone doing their part to help the green economy can be done, just like everyone social distancing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting point, Drew, like really this idea of collective action, that, you know, when everyone is on board, it's amazing what an impact this can have. So I'm really, really hoping to be able to shift things in this direction.